Today on Shed Talk with Kevin Halliday, I've got Adam Jones from MAXgreen in the shed. Now, he's built a strong company, a strong reputation, a strong presence in Calgary. But like a lot of men in business and in the trades, he knows strength isn't just about what people say on the outside. A lot of men know how to work. A lot of men know how to push through things. A lot of men know how to keep going, even when life gets heavy. But a lot of men don't talk about the weight they're carrying while they're actually doing it. And that's where this conversation matters. Because leadership is pressure. Business is pressure. Providing is pressure. And if you don't have the right mindset, that pressure can start owning you instead of building you. Today, we're talking about business. We're going to be talking about leadership. We're talking about mental health and what really means to stay strong when people are counting on you the most.
Creating curiosity by asking better questions. This is Shed Talk.
Adam, welcome to Shed Talk. You know what? I was on your podcast the other day, and it was absolutely stellar. The shorts were great and everything. And the greatest thing about it, it was actually in exotic cars. What's up with that?
Yeah, so we have an exotic car dealership, L'Exotic Auto Boutique. So we've got, 12 cars on either side. We've got cars on front and back, a couple couches, a table, throw some cameras up, boom, instant podcast studio.
So why did you get into the car dealership? Because right now with MAXgreen, and you guys have been very successful in the community, basically for siding, for roof. Is it roofing?
Window siding and roofing. Yeah, full exteriors.
Full exteriors. And how hard is that business?
It's a tough business. There's a lot of fly-by-nights out there. I mean, it's no different than any other construction trade, right? There's going to be good quality, bad quality, and just trying to stand out with the reputation, right? And earn those referrals and reviews, and that's how we built the business over the years.
Okay, so then as I just talked about that first one, now you're in the car dealership. What's up?
I have always been passionate about cars. So from a young age, I always wanted to own exotic cars. Ferrari was always my dream car. And once I got to the point where I'm like, okay, I think this is possible. I made a goal, Ferrari by 40. That was my goal. I did it at 38, and it was a pretty cool accomplishment, except I was working in the blue collar trades. So you roll up to the office. You don't want to park it out front. You don't want to be it anywhere that the customers can see, anywhere that the subs can see or trades. You want to kind of hide it away from them. So it kind of felt like I don't really have this pride of ownership with it like I really wanted to. So I was like, how can I make it so that not only am I basically explaining this better to the trades and the blue collar industry, but I'm showing that I have a reason for having these cars. So originally I started off with the idea of like a car club. So I would own 3 or 4, my business partner would own 3 or 4, maybe you got involved and owned a couple, and we'd all kind of share amongst each other. That was the original idea of the car club. Unfortunately, a lot of other people don't want to share their vehicles. And as I found out, I started buying more and offering memberships and sharing them that way, and found out pretty quickly there's a reason why people don't want to share their cars. There's a lot that can go wrong with them. It can be an expensive game. So that's where I'm like, there's got to be a better way to subsidize this expensive hobby of mine. So that's when I pivoted into the exotic car dealership space. And I mean, their exotic car dealerships have been around for a long time. It's a pretty simple business model: buy low, sell high, just like any other business, right? Versus the membership model. So it was just, to me, it just made way more sense to give it a shot. And so with the help of a business partner, we kind of invested in our initial inventory, got our showroom set up, shut down a previous business that wasn't performing, and just decided to go all in on this dream business of ours.
Now, it's interesting because you were talking about right there, because I'm in the trades industry as well, and I think about it when I was starting off, was mindset and what people, blue collar trades, and how trades are looked down upon. Yeah. And then here we are, and then we're successful. Okay, so the business is doing well, your business is doing well, and how we can't actually show it or tell anybody.
Yep.
And as men, and we're looking at this, and we have to hide it.
Yeah. It takes the enjoyment out of it, really. I mean, when I first got like my first Corvette Z06, like I love that car, but I wasn't able to kind of share it. I wasn't really able to enjoy it because I didn't have the right mindset at the time.
And then what did you find was your biggest challenge? Because all of a sudden you got your Ferrari.
Yep.
Okay, first time, 38 years old. Here you go. You're excited. You're pumped, and it's like, all right. And then the first guy would look at you.
Yeah. Say stuff like, "Oh, why don't you let me drive that?" Or, "Oh, it must be nice." Or, "Oh, I must not be charging enough." Right. And those types of comments really got to me. And for a while they did. And so that's where I was, one hand, I was trying to subsidize an expensive hobby. On the other hand, trying to justify these vehicles to the blue collar industry. But then once I finally got my mindset around the whole idea of money is just a measure of value. It's just, all it is a measure of value that you've provided to others. Once I was able to get my mind around that, I was confident enough to go back to my installers and say, "Do you want to make $10,000 a day? No problem. We just have to figure out a way to deliver $30,000 of value to our client. Then we can pay for materials, your labor, and we still make a profit and everybody wins. Can we do that?" Well, I don't know. And it's the mindset, right? It's the blue collar scarcity mindset of, if you're winning, it means I'm losing. But that's not the way money works. That's not the way the economy works. That's not the way the world works. If everybody's winning, we can win together. But there's just a lot of people with that incorrect mindset.
So when you're looking at it, so here you are, you're 38, you got your free, you're getting the mindset, you're getting your installers on board, the company, your culture, as we would say. How are the employees in the back looking at it?
Same thing, right? It's a blue collar industry. They look at it. I think the salespeople look at it as a motivator. I know I did when I first got into sales in windows and doors. I looked at the what was it, a 2003 Z06 Corvette, 2003 350Z Nissan. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to drive those cars one day, right? So to me, it was a motivator because I always knew I wanted that. But to a lot of people, it's, oh, well, what do you mean you can't? What do you mean times are tough? What do you mean costs have to be cut? You just bought a new car, right? And so it's trying to justify that. But now I'm a lot more confident in the sense that if we need to do something to make payroll, first thing that goes is one of the cars. You told me the story about selling your Porsche because you had to pay bills, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that a lot of blue collar or even just employees don't understand is that, yes, when times are good, business can make a lot of money, but when times are bad, it can go the other way. If we're losing money, we have to pay to work. We don't just work for free. We pay to work. And I've had to do that. And now I'm just a lot more confident in that, in telling people that and making sure they understand that.
So as an entrepreneur, here we are older. We're finding ourselves that, and I talk about men's mental health and then over 50, over 40, and we're looking at this and what has been the greatest challenges with entrepreneurs and mental health? Like, we have mental health in the construction industry, okay, and I talk about workplace safety, your PPEs, your boots, your hats, but a lot of people, and now it's starting to come in about mental health issues, that some trades are offering that, meaning the mental health stuff. But how has it affected you personally?
Well, I mean, as a younger entrepreneur, like I started my business when I was 26, and I've had businesses my whole life, but it wasn't until I started, you start getting into relationships, then you start having kids, then the pressures really start to build, right? Because when you're young and you don't have those same sort of responsibilities, you can afford to make mistakes, you can afford to have things go sideways. But as soon as you have a family, everything's different, right? And that pressure and that weight just kind of starts to build and build and build. And I still remember the first time I ever had to admit to my admin assistant and my install manager, who was actually one of my two installers at the time, that I could not handle something. And I was like, I'm too overwhelmed. I cannot do this. That was the scariest thing I've ever had to do, because I was like, I'm supposed to be leading this company. I'm supposed to be providing for them. And if they don't think I can do that, they're going to leave, right? But I just got to that point where I just could not physically handle anymore, could not mentally handle anymore. And so by kind of letting them know, and all of a sudden, wow, they're supporting me instead of running away. Holy cow. Like it feels good to get that support. But a lot of men are just taught, like in our generation especially, suck it up, be a man, deal with it. Just go to work, keep your head down, and things will get better. And sometimes they do, but oftentimes they don't. It just builds up.
So when you basically let yourself go and tell you guys, I've had enough, I'm done, and then the team all of a sudden said, hey, I got this.
Yeah.
How did that feel? Like, when was that changing, that aha moment? Because as entrepreneurs, like you said, like, we feel like failures. Oh, we're not going to do this. Oh, here, I'm supposed to lead. It's kind of like your family.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be the strong guy. And then all of a sudden to admit it and then just go, ugh. Yeah. Did it feel like relief?
It did, yeah. Knowing that I had people that stood behind me, it was a huge relief. And this was when we were a company of 4 or 5 people, right? And now we're over 50 people. So knowing that I'm still in that position where I have the right people on board that would do anything for me, they'd run through walls for me, like it's unreal. But they also know I'd do anything for them. Like when it comes to mental health, we talk about it. Like my business partner Jamie and I, we talk about mental health and our struggles and our rock bottom. And we encourage our staff to not only get the support they need, but anything beyond benefits coverage, we pay for out of our own pocket. So same thing with other people in the community that can't otherwise afford it. There's still a stigma attached, unfortunately. Obviously, guys like you and me are trying to change that and get it out there. But there's still a lot of people that even if they don't feel the stigma of going to get mental health counseling, it's hard to justify the $220 a month or sometimes they need 2 sessions a month, right? When you're trying to put food on the table, trying to spend time with your family, trying to do all these different things. How do you take that mental load or how do you take that financial burden and invest it back into yourself, right? And a lot of people struggle with that. And so we want to take that burden off of a lot of people and just say, look, if you need help, go get the help. And we have an unlimited budget with our company for mental health.
So let's ask, I'm going to go back a little bit more because that's you helping out the company. Let's dive into more about you. You just said when you hit low, okay, rock bottom. What was that? And what was that like?
So 2018, we had our 3rd child. She was 3 months old. We went down to Mexico, amazing family holiday, living the perfect family dream. On the last day there, we were kind of getting ready to go. The boys were in the bath. My wife was in the shower, and the boys decided to turn on the jacuzzi jets. Water spraying everywhere. I rush in to turn it off just out of instinct, not thinking I'm carrying my 3-month-old daughter. I slip, I fall, hits her head on the marble floor. That was kind of the turning point for me. That's when you really realize family is everything. I thought I was going to lose her. Luckily, she's a healthy, happy 8-year-old girl now. But I went through hell and back after that with mental health. Like I thought I was okay. I was already proactively seeing a counselor. I thought I did all the right things. But after about 3 months of back in the grind of work and appointments and follow-ups with her, it hit me. And I went from being this dad of 3 that can handle anything, husband, business owner. I couldn't handle the slightest bit of stress. Like I couldn't handle like a kid screaming. I couldn't handle anything. And it was 3 months of absolute hell, of anxiety, depression, more so anxiety, just not knowing what to do, how to get out of it. I was going to counseling. I was doing all the right things, right? And that's the hard part when you're in the midst of the mental health crisis is even if you know all these things, it's not going to solve it, but knowing that there is that light at the end of the tunnel is definitely a help. I went through another, I finally started getting out of that with some EMDR therapy. Went through about 6 months or so of feeling good.
What's an EMD?
Yeah, EMDR. So eye movement desensitization and reprogramming.
Okay.
So basically what they do is they have you close your eyes, then you open them, and then you follow this light back and forth. And the idea is then you close your eyes again, you think about the trauma, and then you keep doing that. And what it does is it desensitizes it because it gets you to relive it, forces you to relive the trauma. But between the eye movement and then just reliving it, you actually somehow it reprograms your brain to think, yes, it was a memory. Yes, it was this, and it's trauma, but it's in the past, and this is what I can take from it moving forward. So with that therapy, it really helped. But then 2019, it was January, coming up on the 5-year anniversary of my father's death, who passed away due to alcoholism, depression, mental health, basically drank himself to death because he couldn't handle his mental health. And I was worried that the business wasn't doing well, everything was failing, and I just went down this rabbit hole of everything's falling apart. I'm gonna have to lay everybody off. The end is here. And for 6 months, it was hell. It was anxiety, depression, everything, to the point where I had convinced myself that my business was the reason that I was dealing with all this stress, and I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't handle the pain anymore of feeling depression, but I also couldn't put my family through this pain anymore. So that's the point I realized that I thought my family was better off without me. I thought that by just going away, they would get the life insurance money, and things would just be better without me. And it got to the point where we already had a vacation booked, and I knew that if I did something to myself, there's no way my wife and kids would have gone on that vacation. And I wanted them to have one last happy memory with me. So we went on an Alaskan cruise, and week before the cruise, I just told everybody at work, I'm like, I'm taking 2 weeks off. Do not contact me. I will not have phone, email, or anything. So I took a week off at home, spent with my family. Then went on this cruise for a week. And I just resigned myself to the fact that this is my last family vacation. Whatever happens will happen when I get back. I don't know if I'm going to live. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that we're not going to have money. We're not going to have vacations. We're not going to have happiness anymore, because I was just convinced that there's no way out. But we got home, and because I let it go and I said, I'm going to shut the business down when I get back, that weight just poof, went off my shoulders. My wife saying, you know what? I'd rather be poor and on the streets with you and the kids than make money and not be happy and you be miserable. I don't want to see you like this. I want to get you better. And knowing that I went from being a burden to my family to being a reason to live for my family, holy shit, that was a game changer.
Hey, take a minute and smash that subscribe button, and let's get back to the episode.
So I want to get into that, because all of a sudden your mind is, are you ready to commit suicide?
I was thinking about it. I never made an attempt. I never had like a formalized plan, never had a letter, but I was convinced that my family was truly better off without me. And you hear a lot of times people commit suicide, like, how could they do that? And it's because the pain is so bad that they just like, and I think I heard this on one of your podcasts, that they don't want to kill themselves. They just don't want to hurt anymore. And they don't want to put other people through hurt. So it was like, yes, they're going to hurt knowing that I'm gone, but eventually they're going to heal, they're going to move on with their lives, and everything would be okay, right? And when you're in that state, you're not thinking rationally, like, but there was some logic there in the sense that I knew that I couldn't do it before the holiday. I knew I had to make it look like an accident. I knew like all these different things, but luckily I never got to the point where I was really considering it or going through with it. But depression is the worst feeling in the world.
So you're on the trip, you're on the boat, okay, and then realizing that it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Like,
when was the one part, like when did you realize it was okay?
I think when I truly believed my wife when she said, money isn't everything, we don't need money. She met me before the business. We had nothing. We grew up with nothing. We knew we didn't need anything, but I kept telling myself that narrative in my head. I need to be the provider. I need to be the success. If I shut down the business, I'm a failure, and I'm just like my father, right? Who lost his business because of mental health and addiction. And I got to that point where I'm like, I'm done. I can't do any of this anymore. But when she said, you can, like, we'll be fine. Doesn't matter what, we'll be fine as long as we have each other. I just kind of accepted that and turned over all of my worry and everything to, okay, whatever will be, but we'll be a family. And I decided to live for my family.
So it's interesting. So here you are, world is changing, meaning you're on the cruise, okay, it's over, not suicidal, because at that point your wife said you're there. And then all of a sudden the mind shifts. And then now, did you close it down? Because now you're back.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, obviously I didn't.
Yeah.
But when I got back, I was convinced before I left, I was going bankrupt, the company was going bankrupt, everything was going down, right? I had catastrophized everything. But when I got back, I came back with the mindset of, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, if it shuts down, it shuts down. If I have to go bankrupt and suppliers lose money, it sucks. I feel horrible, but it is what it is. I can only control what I can control. So I decided from then on, I was only going to focus on what I can control. And if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But I was going to do everything I could to make it work. But I wasn't going to worry about the what ifs. And luckily, that mindset shift was what I needed, right? Because I went from not only almost losing my daughter, but I also almost lost my best friend and business partner. He went through addiction and mental health struggles too, to the point where I had to suspend him from work after he had just joined as a partner. I had to suspend him indefinitely pending treatment because he got a DUI. And so this is in the midst of my mental health crisis. So I almost lost a friend too. And luckily he went through treatment and he's over 6 years sober. So it's quite the accomplishment. But because we both kind of went through rock bottom together, now we can remind each other when things get tough. Like this week is very tough. He's in Mexico with his fiance, having the time of his life, but he's stepping up and helping me out mentally. And whatever I need, I'm going through a lot family wise right now, but we can help each other out because at the end of the day, none of it matters. Like all that matters is family and friends and health, right?
And it's interesting because when you're talking before where you're at, you came back and you said, "Oh, I don't care anymore." Okay, what you're gonna control what you can control. And it's funny how our mind plays games with us. It plays tricks. It tells a story that's not even true. Because when we're not communicating back and forth, and we're saying these lies to us, "Oh, I'm no good. My business is going to go." And I remember, and I know that exact story because in my business, I had the same thing. It's like, "Oh no, we're in trouble." And it was just before COVID. We were going to do layoffs.
Yeah.
And we went away because we had to figure out layoffs. And the thing about it is that it wasn't about the layoffs. Then COVID hit. Then we boomed. And it was like the things you know that you don't know. And as long as you have a clean mind and talked it through, boy, we sure can make a lot of big changes by communication.
Absolutely.
So this hardest point and hardest time you're in right. So you're in the crap right now.
Right now I'm in some crap. Yeah. Like just dealing with family stuff, work stuff. I lost a key employee unexpectedly. Just didn't agree with some decisions we made, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with it, but it was a shock, right? And then all of a sudden now
Death or
no, sorry, my apologies. So I lost a former employee to death,
right?
And then I lost a key employee just because she didn't feel that she was the right fit anymore,
right,
for our company. So and then so I took on her role too, right? So now I'm doing a lot more. Meanwhile, I've been trying to go to the gym every morning, like trying to do all the right things, right? And all of a sudden everything's piling up. And then my wife, she's been dealing with thyroid cancer for 19 years, and it keeps coming back. And they did another surgery recently, and thought they got it all, and the ultrasound confirmed, yeah, they got it all, but the tumor marker's still there. So now we got to go back for a CT scan next week of her whole upper body because it's probably spread. So there's that. Then Monday, my daughter's been getting headaches, so she had to come home from school. And then my daughter, the same daughter that hit her head and ended up having a craniotomy because of that, and has cerebral palsy to this day. We're worried about all the neurological stuff. So my wife takes her in on Monday. Tuesday, all of a sudden, we find out that one of my sons is struggling with bullying and mental health. And we had no indication of this. Our oldest already struggles with mental health and stuff. And then yesterday, I was in a meeting at work and I get a text from my wife. Ambulance is on its way. You need to come home. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I rushed out of the meeting and rushed home. And my daughter was having neurological issues after, like, even though she was discharged on Monday night, having neurological issues again. So now she's got to go in an ambulance to Alberta Children's Hospital. I have to drive there, meet them there, while trying to hold my shit together and not crash and cause more grief for everybody.
And you're here.
And then I'm here today because talking is therapeutic, right? And that's the thing a lot of guys don't think about is, like, yesterday when I was on my way, my first thought was, I can't tell anybody this. It's going to burden them. I can't tell anybody this. I can't put this weight on anybody else. But I told my business partner what I was going through, even though he's on vacation in Mexico. I didn't want to bug him. He supported me. I called my mom, who also has struggled with mental health stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to put this on her, but I need somebody to talk to. So I was bawling my eyes out, driving across the city to get to the Children's Hospital, dealing with all this. And even today, I came home to spend time with my kids, and I can't even look at them right now without bawling. But I know that I need this therapy, right? And listening to your podcast of men open up more when they're just shooting the shit or hanging out or whatever, like it resonates with me. So it wasn't even a question whether I was coming. It was, this is what I'm going to do. And that's why I went home earlier, is because I wanted to spend the time with my kids and then still be able to do this and then go home and spend with them again. And potentially even take tomorrow off and spend them with them again, because at the end of the day, family is the most important thing. Like you can always get more customers, make more money. You can't replace time. You can't replace family. So it just moments like this, it's hard as hell, but it makes you really appreciate what you have in life. And like all I can think about is all the other people that are way worse off than me, right? Like somebody in our community just lost a father, right? Like it's just there's a lot heavier stuff out there, but it's just all those little things that just get to you, right? And add up. And like I was just looking at how this year's gone so far, and I'm like nobody should be able to handle this all. And I'm not really, but I have to because I have to be there for my family. So there's part of me that has that weight of like, I have to be strong for them. I have to be strong for my wife. Like we both have gone back and forth with mental health struggles. So I got to be strong for her. Today, she got to be my rock. And now I'm here and you're helping me. Like a guy in my EO forum, Brad, he like, I put in my EO forum, that's another amazing avenue. I posted in there today. I said, man, have I got some updates for you guys next week, like when we meet. I just want to say how grateful I am for this community and how awesome and positive it is. Because if I didn't have this, like, I don't know how I would keep trying to build a business rather than just plateau or whatever. But Brad called me up right away. Hey, what's going on? I know you need to talk. Let's talk, right? And just be able to be vulnerable with people, right? And be able to have those emotions and break down and be okay with it, right? It's okay to not be okay. And right. And that's what I said to my whole team, the last full team meeting. Like I told them about the former installer who worked with us for 8 years that passed away suddenly, heart attack, right? And I was crying in a full team meeting, right? But these are the vulnerable moments that we as men, we as leaders have to be okay with. And we can't just say, oh, nothing's wrong, right? Like shit's wrong. Like life is hard. Everybody goes through hard stuff, right? And the other thing that I guess I want to point out is like, you don't know what other people are going through. So if somebody's giving you shit or giving you a hard time or whatever, just be kind because you don't know what they're going through. Like my business partner, Jamie, deals with all sorts of hate on social media, right? Like people just absolutely hate themselves enough to spew the hate. And all he does is reply with kindness. He's like, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Like, hopefully you get some help, right? Like it's amazing what some kindness and positivity will do.
And the fact that you're opening up and having this conversation, because I'm sitting here and saying, thank you for opening up and sharing this precious moment, because it's interesting because a lot of people don't, in that vulnerability stage and where you're at right now, ask the question is not what I can do today. It's about what can I do for you for tomorrow, okay? Because going through this and having this conversation that we're able to open up and actually talk about it far outweighs anything we can do, and being, what do we call it, man enough or whatever, to vulnerable to actually have that conversation.
Absolutely. And and you need to get it out, because if you just bottle it up, it's just gonna explode in other ways, right? Whether it's anger, violence, whatever it is, right? And emotions are okay, right? And that's the key, right? Like everybody goes through their stuff, right? And just knowing that you're not a burden and you can talk about it and people do care and want to help is definitely really amazing. Like, and I love what you're doing about like just really trying to open that dialogue about mental health.
So the next question, because as we're getting into this, because I don't call it shock value where you're at, because it's very important to you, is now it's kind of like, all right, you're in the garbage, you're in the shit, here you are right now, and yes, you have to open up, yes, you have to talk, and appreciating this. What's the next step for you?
Going to counseling next Tuesday. Luckily, I was able to get in before my upcoming trip. But I think the next step is I got to be kind to myself and be okay with it, and know that my wife is there to support me just as much as I'm there to support her, and not just try to be that tough, macho, strong guy that just holds it all in. Because as men, we're preconditioned to be protectors and problem solvers, right? Like, okay, this is wrong. Okay, how do we fix it, right? Or something's going on with my family. I'm gonna do whatever I can to fix it, right? Like, luckily we're in a position where like if money was an ability to fix things, we would do it, right? Like when I was in Florida, in Cancun with my daughter, right? Like I was Googling what the cost of a medevac was. I didn't have the money then. I had customer deposits. I was going to figure it out later. If insurance wasn't going to cover it, I was going to figure it out later, just because when you're desperate, you do anything for your family. Right. And I think the big thing to take away is, just take every day, like appreciate every day for sure, whether you have faith or not, like just appreciate every day, be gracious and have gratitude, and know that there is a lot of good in this world, no matter what the media tries to tell you. There is a lot of good in this world. There's a lot of good people, and try to surround yourself with positivity is the big thing. And I mean, even if you're trying to run a business and you show all this outward success, right? You're allowed to be human. You're allowed to be not okay. It's okay to not be okay, right? That's the big thing I want to share.
No, that is awesome. One last question I want to go in there is, you say you have a therapist.
Yep.
How did you pick a therapist?
Trial and error, really. You have to find the right one. There's too many, like, there's so many different ways of doing therapy. There's so many different life experiences that people have. And one thing I actually realized is you don't necessarily want to go for the most experienced therapist. You want to go for the one that you have the right connection with, right? So my current therapist, she might be younger than me. I don't know exactly, but just the way that we can talk and interact and communicate has been very helpful. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be the fit forever either. I've gone through several therapists in the past. Like one was just kind of got too busy and couldn't get me in when I needed. There was another one that I just felt like it just wasn't having that same benefit anymore. So it's finding that right fit, right? And that's kind of the hard part with our system is benefits usually only cover $500 of the counseling. That's 2 sessions. Alberta Healthcare won't cover counseling unless you end up in their psych ward, which I did in 2019. Until you get into their inpatient program or outpatient programs, you don't get coverage. And so it's a very reactive system and not proactive. So we talk about the trays, right? Like you fall off scaffolding, you go to the hospital, you get fixed up, everything's covered, right? But you're having a mental health crisis and you go into the hospital, unless they think you're at the point where you're going to hurt yourself and they want to commit you, you don't have access to those resources. They give you all the resources. They say, here, you go see counseling and everything like that. But you still have to pay out of pocket a lot of the time. You can't even claim that back on your taxes. Like it's like Alberta Health Services, the amount of money that they spend on reactive mental health and the amount of effect it has on the economy has got to be ridiculously high versus what it would cost to just cover a certain amount of counseling every year for every Albertan or every Canadian, wherever it is. Proactive, not just the stigma, but removing that financial barrier, even if it's just like pay $20 or whatever, just so they have some skin in the game. I know that's the way Calgary Counseling Center does it. They're not for profit, but not everybody knows about them. Not everybody can make it downtown. Not everybody finds the right fit there. Like when I got into the system, the counselor I had at Alberta Health Services, I didn't see eye to eye with, but I can't ask for a new one. It's free. Like you get what you get. This is our system, right? Whereas private, you can go wherever. And there's a lot of back and forth about, private versus public healthcare. It's like, well, to me, the easiest solution is just make mental health counseling by a registered psychologist a reimbursable expense through Alberta Healthcare, or have some sort of allowance or something like that, where it just direct bills to Alberta Healthcare, 90% even. Just have something where it's proactive and we're solving it up front, right? Like they're taxing cigarettes and alcohol because they know they're bad for you, right? But they're not doing anything to stop the mental health crisis. All the money they spend is on reactive, not proactive.
No, and it's so true, because I talk with men over 50, and they talk about men's mental health. Women, there's tons for women, okay, and that's great. For men, it's very limited. And never mind men over 55, for suicide rates and where they're at, it's like, oh my gosh, forget it. And one of the funny things when you talk about mental health, that proactive versus reactive and stuff like that, it's kind of like the healthcare system. This is going to get off track a bit, but it's like the healthcare system. If you have an instant heart attack rate today, they'll look after you right away.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden you have AFib, here I'm in AFib, I got to wait 2 years before they do a cardioversion. So it's kind of like, well, I guess I would prefer to have the heart attack looked after right away versus my proactive. So it's kind of like pick and choose the battles. The problem is, like you said, mental health, it's not a pick and choose, because it's important now, because we got to do something before the storm hits.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then ask ourselves a better question to grow with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you had one thing to say to a man right now going through the situation that you're going into, what would you say to him?
I'm here for you. I'll listen. If I'm not available, I'm going to connect you with somebody that is. Like, we have the Max Community by MAXgreen program. If you cannot afford it, we don't ask for proof of income. It has nothing to do with your actual income level, because there's a lot of people that make a lot of income that can't afford it because they have a lot of expenses. So if you just cannot afford it or cannot access it for some reason, all you have to do is reach out to Jamie or I, and we will put you in touch with our counseling center. We pay the bill directly. You don't have to pay anything. We don't get updates. We don't have any of the confidential information. It's completely confidential, and it's strictly the honor system. We have an allowable budget every year, and once that's up, like, we have to obviously look at it on a case by case, because we still have to be able to afford this moving forward. But the idea is we don't want people to put off their mental health just because of financial reasons, or because they feel like they have to buy that present for their kid instead of getting this. We don't want people to have to choose between mental health and providing for their family. And sometimes that's the feeling, especially with men. That's where we get to, right? Like, we're like, no, I can't pay for that. I need to put food on the table. I need to do this. My family has to come first. But what they don't realize is, by not taking care of their mental health, they're not taking care of their family. You have to be strong mentally so that you can be strong physically, so that you can be strong for others, right? And that's another thing I learned over the last year was, like, obviously by your fitness journey, and then my business partner Jamie's fitness journey, he's been trying to get me to go to the gym for 6 years, and I finally went back this year because he got me a full health assessment, and the doctor said, "Do you want to meet your grandkids?" And I'd never thought of it like that. I always thought, yeah, there's a pill for everything, right? If I get, like, I can get lipo later, whatever. Like, no, it's like if your good cholesterol is too low, your bad cholesterol is too high. Yeah, there's some pills that bring the bad down, but you can't do anything about the good except exercise. You're not going to fix your heart unless you exercise. You're not going to bring down your pre-diabetic levels unless you exercise, right? All these things that you're just like, holy shit, the public system never told me any of this. But this doctor took the time, because he's getting paid appropriately, and everybody, like, it's not the $35 visit, get in, get out as fast as you can. And like, he forced me into this, right? And I never thought of it before, but that doctor and Jamie saved my life again, right? After already saving my life back with the mental health stuff, right? So it's if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. It's like, put your mask on before helping others on the plane, right?
Yes.
If you're incapacitated, you're no good, right?
Yeah.
So
awesome. Yeah. You know what, Adam? Thank you very much for coming on Shed Talk, sharing your experience and where you're at. And it's more than happy to lend an ear, lend a conversation back and forth, and change people's lives one step at a time. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us on Shed Talk.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Now you know. Shed Talk.